Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share an amazing story from one of my subscribers and talk about how switching to a funded futures account saved him from struggling with options day trading on a very small account and instead has given him amazing success that has surpassed my own trading abilities. Not only will I discuss how and why this works so well, but I also want to share with you some key benefits of doing a funded futures account unrelated to them being easier to trade. I also give a quick update about where I am on my current futures funded account with Elite Trader funding. Before we get started, I'll leave several referral codes for trading services I use in the description, including TradingTix, Elite Trader Funding, and TradingView that will give us both discounts. Lastly, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to help me grow that channel. With all that being said, let's get right into it. So, as I mentioned, I was talking to this subscriber because he was options trading, and I'm sure many people can relate to this. He was really struggling, losing a lot of money. Different things like Vega and Theta were messing with him. He just wasn't getting the optimal entries that he wanted. And so he was dialing it back to do a $500 cash settled account and just kind of going back to the roots on day trading. And that's when I mentioned to him about doing a funded futures account, which actually really saved me when I was early on in my trading. And I still use them today because it's an incredible feature that a lot of us traders can take advantage of. Now, I did a full video on this, so I won't get too far into it, but he ended up deciding to do the $25,000 eval, which he's basically paying half this price with my coupon code. And what that means is that he has, in order to pass that eval, he needed to hit $1,500 in profit before losing $1,500. Now, in the eval mode, you're in a demo account, so you're not actually risking real money. You're just essentially proving to them that you are a good trader and that they should fund you. And I want to talk about what happens once you pass that eval. So anyway, he gets into the eval, and I expected him to do a bit better because futures are actually a lot easier to trade, and I'll talk about that momentarily. And this is the overnight live futures right now. I was hoping that maybe we could find a trade and we could take one together while I'm on this and see how it works out. But essentially, when he was struggling with options, so instead of having a $500 account, now he had a $1,500 account essentially, and he wasn't playing with his own money, so it takes a lot of emotions out. And that's one point I want to stress, is that if you are struggling right now, stop risking your own money, and that's what I talk about in a different video. Risk someone else's. It's important to play with real money because it's important to get used to those emotions of trading, because those emotions still impact you when real money is on the line. However, the most you can lose, and all that happens is you have to reset, or you have to wait until your monthly rollover to get reset for just your monthly fee. So the most you could lose in this case, now with this account, the most you could lose is $72.50 with the 50% off instead of $145, so $72.50 a month, unless you go out of your way to reset and pay a $75 fee. However, what happened is when he started trading futures, he really just hit the ground running, and he blew me away. And I have some screenshots he was sending me while he was in the eval, and he started doing the right thing. He was actually a really good trader, and this is a screenshot. When you enter a trade, this is kind of hard to see, but this little green arrow shows where he went long, and the little red arrow shows where he exited that position, which means he sold his position. Now, he was doing E-mini ES, which right here is E-mini ES, and up here I can switch to micros, which would be MES U2 right now. And essentially the way it works is, if you're doing E-mini ES, when you go to enter your, so if I wanted to go short on a position, I literally just click on the chart, say sell limit. If price comes up and hits this limit, it will then trigger my position. Now I have brackets configured to auto take profits, so I auto take profits when I reach 16 ticks. Now with futures, 4 ticks is 1 point. 1 point equals $50, so that's why I have 16 ticks. That's basically 4 points. So the goal for the amount of positions I have open with these brackets set is to essentially get $200 for every $150 I'm risking. Now that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. When I put my trade in, so say I wanted to short right here, but I wanted to try to shoot for, I didn't want to risk the full 150, I can drag my stop down a little bit, and then if I wanted to shoot for the value area low, which is typically what I would do in this situation, I would move my profit target down. So what happens is, as soon as this comes in, it activates my trade. There's no slippage. There's no issues of Vega or Theta throwing off the contract price. Nothing like that we have to worry about. We can be really precise with our limit orders, wait for it to come to where we want, which instills good practices of being a patient trader, and then we can stay in that trade and let it either hit our stop loss or hit our profit target, and then we're out. And that's what he started doing. Now you can also market order. You can do so with the buttons here. If you wanted to go long, you can buy market. If you wanted to go short, you can sell market. Up here, we can exit the position easily once we're in it. And so he started doing that, and he started going for base hits. So just this move right here, I think he had 2 ES contracts on at the time. I don't remember exactly, but that was something like a $500 win. Now keep in mind, he had the 25K account, so he only needs 3 trades like that to pass. Now, that's why it's important to always set a stop loss, because obviously you want to limit what you're risking. If you're risking 150 each time with a 25K account, you can take 10 losses in a row before you get locked and have to reset. And what ended up happening blew me away, is because he ends up taking some amazing trades. Here's another example of his P&Ls, and we can see right here, just in one night, realized profit was 3,500. So he blew out the profit target. And we talked, and I said, hey, listen, stop trading this account, because there is a 5-day minimum that you have to wait. So you can see here, requires a minimum of 5 trading days. So when you're in the eval, if you pass it within 2 or 3 days, you still have to wait that 5 days. So if you hit your profit target, just stop trading. He actually decided to go on and open a 100K account, because what's awesome about this service is that you can actually go and trade multiple accounts. That's one thing when you sign up, when you're choosing your broker. If you choose TradingView, it actually gives you both Trade-Evate and TradingView, which means that it automatically enables this add-on for you. So you can trade within Trade-Evate, or you can trade within TradingView, whichever platform you prefer. I prefer Trade-Evate, quite honestly. I was flipping back and forth a lot, but when it comes to futures, I just really love things Trade-Evate gives me, and I'll do a whole different video on my setup in Trade-Evate and why I love it so much. But so now he's started trading 2 accounts at the same time, and he's actually passed both of them. And so what's amazing, he passed his first eval. So officially his 5 days was up on August 25th. Now, if you recall what happened on August 26th, we had a rapid sell-off, and this blew me away. So he got his message, and I'll talk about what the next steps are. So he goes from an eval account to an elite account, and at this point he's trading real money. And so very next day, full-blown market crash, and he sends me this update. Now I was shooting for base hits, and I regret not doing exactly what he did here. He was also doing base hits, but at the beginning of the day, when we held 42.06 on ES futures, he opened 2 E-mini contracts going short. And we can see here, this green line is his trailing stop loss. This red line is his profit target. And all he was doing was sliding that down, because price just kept dropping that day, if you recall. I'll see if I can pull it up here. I'll just show on SPY real quick, just to refresh everyone's memory in case they forget what it was like August 26, 2022. You can see here, we just had, this was 420 on SPY. It was roughly 42.07 on ES. When we came up here, we rejected really hard. He went short with 2 E-mini contracts, which is basically $100 a point at that point. And then he would close out one contract and reopen it, close out one contract, doing base hits with one contract while leaving that runner open essentially the entire time. And that's where this screenshot came over. You could see his current open P&Ls was 3,500 at this point in the day when he sent it, which was or very early in the day. It was already it was only 9:50 a.m., which is just crazy to me. So I'm not even quite sure when he took this, but I know by the end of the day, it was his very first day trading with real money, and he ended up making 7,500 in that account. Now, this is something I want to point out, and actually one of them is more of a safety net, because they are funding you with their money, so they need a safety net to ensure that you're just not a YOLO trader, that you're going to go in, full port the account and blow it right away as soon as you're funded. So once you do get into eval, we can actually go to the FAQ and see these details. You are trading real money. However, they keep it in demo mode because they still want to observe you. They still want to restrict drawdown, but any money you make is indeed your money. But they limit your payouts initially. So his first payout, he can grab up to $1,250. Second payout, he can grab up to $1,500. Third payout, up to $1,750. And this describes how many days you have to wait in between. So first time is 20 days. Second time is 15 days. At his rate, he's going to have tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in this account by the time he's going to be pulling these out because he's just had such incredible success with futures, which I truly believe a lot of people can do. Scalping and day trading is so much easier on futures. It's such a better instrument than options trading, and that's one thing I want to stress. And it's not just, we don't have to just trade equities either. I mean, we can do oil, we can do forex, we can do crypto. There's so many different products we can trade on futures that we can trade in TradingView using Elite Trader Fund. It just really matters. So like if SPY is having a choppy day because it's FOMC, just switch to something else that's not correlated with SPY or not correlated with FOMC events. And so you can see here, once you eventually, after your fourth payout, now this whole time they're making sure that you're not a YOLO trade, that you're doing the smart thing, like, you know, using brackets, not full porting your position every time, respecting your stops. And there's still a lot of leeway there. Obviously, all of us make mistakes, and they're not going to pay you out and then shut your account down because they didn't like the way you trade it. But obviously, if you go and blow the account because you kept full porting every time, then at that point, yeah, they're probably not going to continue that relationship with you. You will get paid out, and then you can actually reset and start over and trade the proper way, essentially with proper risk reward and risk management, which I've also done another video on. But once you get to your fifth payout, it's fully unlocked at that point. All that money you accumulated, so say during this period, this payout period of these 4 payouts, which say you built up $100,000 or something like that, you could pull that all out. Now, the reason I wouldn't is because once you go into Elite account, your realized drawdown, leaving money in that account, so say if they fund you $50,000, once you start building profit in that account, you no longer have to worry about the trailing drawdown rule. So it makes it easy. The trailing drawdown rule changes, so it gives yourself a cushion by leaving money in there, which is good practice anyway. But at the same time, you can also continue to pay yourself, which is something a lot of traders fail to do. You can move it to another account where you can do option selling or something like that once you rack up the funds. And the biggest benefit I want to talk about once you are a funded trader, which I absolutely love. And now I highly recommend you talk to your own tax guy about this. Also, if you're outside the US, I don't know if this applies or not. I know nothing about tax code outside the US, but because you're getting paid out for trading futures with them, where it's a 80-20, so you keep 80% of what you make, they keep 20%, excluding that first $12,500 you make, you keep 100% of that, which is actually the most I've ever seen for any prop account. Now, when they pay you in a 1099 NEC form, so a non-employed contractor, and if anyone knows what that means when it comes to tax code, that essentially means that anything that we use for our trading, so whether it be a laptop, whether it be TradingView subscription, Rocket Scooter subscription, TradingView subscription, Unusual Whale subscription, doesn't matter. Whatever you use for your trading, market data, the Elite Trader funding fee, so that fee that we're paying to have a funded account. So again, it's $72.50 with my coupon code, but let's just say you were paying the $145, and that deal for my coupon code expires September 1st. However, there's going to be a new deal for it. I'm just not sure what it is yet. There will be some sort of discount that it applies, but if you want the 50% discount with the other rewards it includes, I highly recommend signing up before September 1st. But regardless, so what that means is that we can write all of that stuff out. The first time we get our Elite account and we get our first payout, so let's say you get your demo account, you get funded within 5, even if it takes you 30 days, so what, right? Take your time, practice, use good trading practices, go for base hits, quality setups, everything we talk about on this channel. Once you get your first payout, you can now write off all your trading expenses. So for instance, I just bought a new laptop. I'm going to write that off. Of course, my yearly subscriptions to the services I use, I'm going to write those off. Everything is going to be written off. And that's, I mean, a huge benefit as well to doing a prop firm, a funded trader program. And that's something a lot of people don't realize. So even if you use the money from your prop firm, from Elite Trader funding, to go and fund a different trading account of your own, at least you can now write everything off without having to go out and start your own LLC or anything like that. And again, talk to your tax guy about it. Make sure it makes sense to do something like that. But I've talked to my tax guy about it, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So And just to give a quick update before we end this video, and I encourage any questions about this, I'm happy to answer them. So I initially started a 10K account, but I realized I wanted to trade bigger than that, so I went for the 25K, and I'm going to do, see, I should have left it short here. If I would have just kept the limit short here on NQ while we were chatting, that would have been perfect. It would have brought me in, and then I could have had a profit target at the value area high right here, and captured about 11 points, which if you're doing NQ, it's $20 a point. So you know, it would have been a decent trade to showcase here, which I really wish I had left that on. But regardless, I'm not going to take it now because we are bouncing off this value area high. We're also sort of at the top here. We made a lower high by a little bit, so I'm not quite sure which direction it wants to take. It looks like it wants to actually just continue moving higher, but despite that, this would have been an ideal entry for me that we just missed. But excuse me, so back to what I was saying. So with my 25K account, I started with $25,000. I've been trading it for 4 days. I am at $26,000. So I basically have about $500 more to go, and then I'll be done my evaluation. Now, the reality is I've only been able to trade this consistently for 1 day. Today I had a bunch of doctor's appointments with my daughter, who may need surgery, and I tried to take some trades while I was at the doctor's office in the waiting room because they were taking forever, and it didn't work out well. It goes against one of my rules, so despite that, thankfully I didn't end up losing money. If we look at the report today, I mean, it was sort of a messy day for me. Usually my P&Ls look nothing like this, but despite that, I still came out with $165, which isn't bad. Now, of course, the last Friday I was able to trade, and even though I was still working, and I couldn't fully pay attention as much as I wanted. That's where I made the bulk of my funds for this. The first 2 days I had it, I couldn't really do anything with it. So about 850 of it came from last Friday and the day we just talked about, and then the rest of it came from today. And then I'm hoping to finish this up on either my 5th or 6th day, get funded, and then we can really start having some fun and building this account up, and hopefully you'll be building it up with me. And again, I'll talk about my Trade setup in a future video because I think a lot of people will find that interesting. Yeah, so it looks like we ended up breaking the value area low, and I'm willing to bet the value area high. I'm willing to bet we come down to the value area low. What concerns me here is this volume gap. So we will probably hold at this ledge, come back up, test somewhere around here, and then come back down. So I am gonna I'll keep an eye on it and look to leave it trade in here, but I'm not gonna hold up the video for that the purposes of that. But yeah, so I mean, this is just a great service, and I don't want to come off as too pushy. It's just I know that this can help a lot of people, and if you're losing money consistently, stop losing your own money and keep the emotions involved. Futures are easier to trade than options, and I'm willing to bet, because he's not the only person that's told me this, that once they discovered futures, thanks to my recommendation or video, they've had a tremendous amount of success. He's just an abnormal amount of success. I do want to stress that I don't recommend trying to trade like him. He's actually surpassed me, so you know, I'm still doing it my own way. I started out with micros initially. Now I'm going to switch to minis now that I have a little more in the account. I'm very close to being done. But anyway, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you found this helpful.